Did you miss my last video where I gave you a full 12-minute breakdown at the beginning of the video of me getting my ass kicked and ass spanked so bad in the charts? Well, go ahead and click this link right here if you missed that, or I'll link it to you at the end if you want to watch this video first to discover how I've been crawling out of the depths of just one bad day after a string of 5 very good days, but it's still slow going for me. I have gotten my in my journey from $5,000 to $100,000 in a futures account in a bear market, which is the challenge I'm doing. Essentially publicly documenting it. I'm back above 21K safely. And so the Grim Reaper has already taken out the 22K door. He's got to take it out again. And once I am taking out 23K, I will post that on Twitter. Again, it's Cosasverdes with the number 2 afterward. You can follow my journey there as well with more JPEG visuals and all that stuff and more fun stuff. So what I've done since my butt kicking, so again, the butt kicking was back here, really bad day. And my butt kicking ended where? Right, yeah, with this one. So this is where the butt kicking ended on June 23rd. June 24th, you can see the dates there. I started trading very lightly, just trying to get back into the groove with the market, and just not really, I'm going back and forth in my account, just staying around 20,800 or 20,600 where I left off after that ass kicking. And then since then, these trades right, yes, these trades right from here to here, I was trading lightly. Small position sizes, trying to ensure I'm back in tune with the market, and these trades were all bigger. And this one was a bummer. I got stopped out, and I didn't move my stops down, but it was a very big position, and these weren't. So I made more money off my smaller positions because I had more wiggle room, and Bitcoin made a higher local high, and these didn't. So it's just part of it. I could have played this a little better. And had I played this better, I'm not saying I would have been in profit because I should have been stopped out sooner is what the thing is. It's not actually for that. Look, I mean, look what happened. And I want you to listen to my mindset here. Look, so I lost about $500 there, right? On a stop out on a big, this is like a $6,000 raw position before leverage, right? And I got stopped out by about $5 or $6. Kind of sucks, but I'm so used to it that I view it as my fault. I could have, I probably should not have tried to, actually, I shouldn't have made money from it. I should have lost more money because my TA was that, or my analysis was that it was not going to make a local higher high. However, I should have guarded better against it. So I'm not going to sit here and bitch about, man, they stole $500 from me, and I would have been up about $1,200. So, $1,200 positive to $500 negatives. That's $1,700. Had I not been wicked out by $5, so this is my previous mentality. Had it not stole my stop, and it kind of looked like it, but that's the way it is. Like that's where I should have entered, not where I should have been stopped out, right? So it's my fault. But my previous, and maybe you being newer, this is how you might feel. I got stopped out, those damn criminals and those bots and their cheaters, and they just stole $1,700 from me. Essentially, that's kind of what it feels like, right? And I'll show you on Bitcoin right behind me. It's this guy. Ethereum didn't make a higher high, right? Cardano didn't make a higher local high from this. They all went down and made a lower high or an equal high, right? But Bitcoin went higher high, and my stop, so this wick right here was just a few dollars from stopping me out. I got into like all my orders filled, and I almost got stopped out, and my stop was about here, and I got stopped out by, it was about by $5 or $6, right? But it's my fault. I'm not going to say they this, they that. No, I did not. My move or my main idea did not involve Bitcoin making a higher local high. Had it, I would have taken profits here, and I would have drawn a 45-degree angle from here like this, and that's a perfectly nice entry. If you're guessing that the next pump will be the highest local high, that wasn't my play. My play was lower high and then down. And so what I should have done, instead of keeping my stop there, as it came down, I should have said, you know what? It's making higher highs, even though it's lower highs, but higher lows. I should take 50% profit and put my stop just outside of break even. My break even, maybe my entry level would have been maybe here or so. And I should have taken half profits, moved my stop just outside of break even, so I guaranteed myself money. But instead, I didn't do it. I just kept my stops where they were, and that's the consequence. So, but notice, that is my mentality of making up, of analyzing mentally losing that $500. I'm not saying they did this and they did that, because when you're new, that's the way it's going to feel. It's like these damn criminals, they knew where my stop was. Now I'm out $1,700 because minus 500 to 1,200 positive. I would be 1,200 to 1,300 positive. That's $1,700 difference, right? So don't allow yourself to think that way. If you ever find yourself saying the theys did this, well, guess what? When they do that, it creates a pattern. How do you make money in trading? You visualize patterns that create statistics that give you an edge. So if you're constantly feeling the theys wick me out, well, instead of entering too early, just enter where you think they're going to try to wick you out. And don't enter where you would have entered. Enter where you would put a stop in your fictitious entry. That's it. That's the mentality you have to have. And so that's the mentality I have. I should have been $1,700 up. Instead of that, I should have only lost about $20 because I should have locked in some profit when I saw these higher lows, and I should have put my stop down just outside of break even, and maybe taking 25% profits here in case that happens to cover the fees, cover the small loss of having my stop just outside of my break even. And that's the mentality I should have done. Okay, I should have been more defensive instead of bitching about $1,700. Does that make sense? And that let me take off the background here. That is what I'm telling you is really important, because if you have that mentality of the days, it's going to screw you over time. You have to build upon yourself and look in the mirror and just look, what could I do different? Time to plan from that. So that's my journey so far, and I'm ready to show you what I think Bitcoin's going to do over the weekend. So let's dive into that. And as we're doing it, make sure that if you haven't checked out the Discord where I give these trade alerts, then the links are in the description section of all my videos. If you want to have about 20 to 30 updates a week regarding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and traditional markets, that's what the YouTube tiers are for. And I give recordings for the Discord Cryptillion tier live video voice chats, and I answer your questions first during the YouTube live calls on Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. That's how the YouTube tiers work, and let's go ahead and get after Bitcoin here. All right, looking down here, just look structurally. No EMAs, no nothing. Raw price. What? Let me go to a slightly bigger chart. What? I want you to think about this. What is happening here? With all these lines that I have, what can you see that's occurring? Point of control. Price fell out. Now, where, if it falls out, from a line standpoint, not looking left standpoint, not these candles, which you could do that analysis as well, but just from these lines only, what do you think that it should come down and hit this box, this line, which actually is right at that box, so it's two important lines crossing? Do you think it's going to come down here, or do you think it's going to come make a lower high, or do you think it's going to come make a higher high? Or if you decide you don't know, what is the one specific thing that you would zoom in and look at to try to determine if you have an edge now, or if you don't have an edge and you can't tell, when can you start telling, which is the important thing, and that's how you sustainably make money in the charts. At this time, I would say, you know what? I don't really know. I'm going to zoom in, so let me show you what I would do to determine when can I have a better idea. I'm going to zoom into this area right here, and I'm going to go down to something like the 3-minute chart, and all I'm going to do is, how are these small candles reacting with this line? That's it. And right now, it's really getting rejected. It's getting rejected pretty perfectly, essentially making lower lows and lower highs along the way. So, as of now, I would say that, I would say that there is a better chance of downside movement as of now than making it either a lower high above this area, the point of control. So this is the point of control, this is outside of the point of control, and this is the bottom of the point of control that is essentially rejecting price, right? Right now, it's more probable that you're going to scout out downside targets. So that's where I think there's an edge for now on the very micro time frames. That doesn't mean 8 hours in the future. I mean, from here to 8 hours, that's what it looks like. After 8 hours, it could change, right? So very, very micro time frames, that is the edge as of now. But so what I want to do with that, just piecing this together for the analysis so you can, do this for yourself, right? So you don't have to lean on me too much, even though I like you coming back to my videos because hopefully you learn something new. Perhaps are entertained when I don't have COVID and I feel and look like shit. But I want to, before I get my downside targets, I'm going to try to figure out, when does this edge change? When does it change? Because If it changes, then I need to forget about my downside targets momentarily until things change back. So what is that? And it's very easy. It's this orange freaking line. That's it. It's the bottom of the point of control. That's when things change. Because as of now, the analysis is for the next 8 hours, downside targets or more probable, because this is being used as resistance. So what would make me, what would make the probabilities flip in the other way favor of upside, up and into this channel? Maybe not a higher local high, but a lower local high is upside as well. That's a very tradable play. It's going to be like 3 or 4% to make a, let's actually see, how many percent would that be? 2%. That's still tradable. I like trading, 1.75 to 3% moves. So and then I take my profit typically, often way too early, but that's how I like to trade. So right now, all you do is say if this line, the bottom of the point of control, is used as support, then the probabilities flip. And what does used as support mean? Listen to how I say that. Used as support. So if price comes up here like this, or it goes like this, does that meet that criteria? I'm asking you a question. I want you to freaking answer it. If price went literally like this, does that meet the criteria that this line has been used as support? No, it doesn't. It went past it. Once it goes past it, I wouldn't say you have an edge for upside, but it becomes probably a coin flip. So this is our threshold that is our threshold of when you have an edge. If it's below it, you definitely have an edge to the downside. If it goes above it without using it as support, in the moment it's going above before it comes back to retest it, it's roughly a coin flip, right? And if it goes above it and then uses it as support, then you have an edge to the upside, right? So right now, I will show you the two. If that does happen, and I'll show you what support looks like here in a second. If it does something like this, that's support right there. When above it and used as support, what would be the two upside targets? Well, it's going to be pretty simple. It's either going to be a lower high to this, or it's going to touch that channel, which is a slightly higher high. It might even be an equal high. It might be an equal high to this if it touches that, right? So the more immediate upside targets, should that be used as support, is a 45-degree angle from here. That's it. That's all you have to do. Literally, that's it. It's that easy, I promise. Remember my Solana video? Where I said 100, it could race up to $150 before then going under 30? That's all I did, and that's exactly where it went. And I was only $4 off with the guess months before it happened. Right? Months before the up move happened, and then my target of under 30 worked. Yeah, this tool works, I promise you. Crypto loves 45-degree angles. It loves 45-degree angles. All right, this would be one upside target if that were to be used as support, and that would be 21.5 roughly, just shy of 21.5. But if it hits here, it could take a minute to get there, something. That would be roughly an equal high with this at 21.6, somewhere around 21.6, 21.650. These are your targets if you were to see this used as support. Now let's focus on what's more probable at the moment. Right now, I would say that you have 3 levels of interest. And again, I'm piecing together very small time frames because price is going to behave a little differently over the weekend than it will on Monday. So micro time frames is what we're concentrating on. I am focusing my eyes on wicks downward where things popped back up. Wicks downward, things pop back up. Did it sustainably pop back up? No, but it stopped. So these are wicks here. This is an area of importance. It wicked up here, went down, wicked up here, went down, wicked up here, went down, wicked here, went down, went here, went down, wicked here, wicked here, went up, wicked here, went up. So this area is going to be a horizontal that is not represented by my channels or the other horizontal I have. But this could be the bounce point. So you see here, I'm just dragging this up. I cloned it by holding control and I hover over and then I drag it. See that? Okay, so you hold control or command on the Mac. This area could be the bounce point. Now we have essentially 2 bounce points. This line right here, this channel line is crossing here and it'll take a while to get down there. So it's essentially the same target. Somewhere around 20,200 or 20,100 if it takes a little bit, if it takes its time to get down there, it'd be 20,100. But you could just use this horizontal box because it could hit this green line between here and here. So you're essentially looking at 20,100 to 20,250 for one target. Perhaps that's my favorite target, but Bitcoin and Ethereum have been pretty bullish. So the next downside movement before a significant bounce that will bring you back into the point of control to some degree it could be here as well between the range of 20,800 to 20,000, essentially 700. So that $100 range is about $150 range. 20,700-ish and 20,820-ish or 850. Okay, those are the levels. It can bounce here or it can bounce here, and that's it. That's all I want to know in the charts, because I don't want to guess what happens after there, because I want to see how small candles and maybe even hourly candle closures are behaving, interacting with those lines. So right now, I don't have that piece of information, how candles will interact. Therefore, I can't make more assessments above and beyond that, past that really. Actually, I could. But for very micro time frame leading into Monday, I want to see the behavior of candles at those levels. That will give me high amounts of information so I can crunch numbers or visually see where do I have an edge, similar to we have an edge to the downside because candles are behaving in a rejection fashion with this line. Therefore, bottom target's more probable. And I'm going to do the same thing once it gets here, and if it breaks through, then I will say, well, this is obviously more probable because it's already broken through this line here. It's using it as resistance, and then, okay, is it using this as support, so on and so forth. And if it even crushes down through here and uses this as a resistance, then I'm going to look for the next target. So it could go through here, come up, use it as resistance, go down to the next point, which is 19.3. But that's why I'm not going to make that guess right now, because I want to see the candle behavior at that point, and this will help me understand. Bitcoin's just going to do some weird stuff this weekend. It's going to be hard to predict exactly. Next week, though, here is where it gets interesting, and I want to show you something more like 14 days out. This rally could get pretty big, and I want to show you why here. And this is the most bullish thing I'm going to say, because price really could get up to 28K. I'm on the weekly chart. We're not really looking at the channel. I'm looking at the RSI. Okay, so the RSI can go lower, bro. It is at essentially an all-time low. This is all-time low weekly RSI for Bitcoin, essentially, right? And but with that idea, if you have you seen my videos where I tell you why I think NASDAQ will go to like 8,800, 8,600 with the blue line, and it got too far away from the average or the mean. It's a mean reversion. Same thing for this. It looks like, you know, this bear market rally wants this green line to touch the white line. Not this white line up here, but the moving average. It got very far away from the moving average, relatively far away. It probably wants to come up to almost touch it. So look here. Look behind me. The green line got really far away from the white line that essentially follows its ass, right? It's right behind its ass all the time. Got really far away. It moved faster than this. And what did it do? It came up to wait for it, which means it didn't touch it, but it came up so that this can catch up. Went down lower, it slowed down so this can catch up, right? The green line got farther away from the white moving line, so it slowed down to let it catch up. It actually crossed. It got farther away. What's likely going to happen? It looks like it might not touch it, but it easily could, because it got pretty far away. This could be like 2 to 3 weeks. The rest of July, we could have multiple green weekly candles in a row because of this idea. This is very important. I mean, this would be a significant bear market rally. It could be very significant because it's going to take a few ticks to get up here. Could it just come up shy, similar to, I don't know, similar to, so you can see behind, on the other side. On the other side, talking like Lucky Charms Leprechaun. But anyway, follow me on Twitter. All right, anyway, it could come up shy and just, not hit it. But still, that's going to be a big rally. That's going to be 25K Bitcoin, even if the green line comes up shy to the white line like that, right? But if it were to actually, maybe not cross it like this, but where's a good example? This is actually a good example right here. If it were to come up and like relax, then that's going to be a big, oh, you can't see it. That's going to be a big rally over here. That's going to be a big rally. What's a better example? Here's a perfect example. This is a perfect, actually, this might be a perfect fractal. So the RSI got far away from the green line. It actually came up to kiss it and then made an ultimate low. So let me put 2 vertical lines from here to here so we can see what price did. Take a fractal so we can get an idea. All vertical, bam. And what happened on price back there is you had a large rally back in 2014, And from bottom to top, your rally was freaking 60%. It was a smaller cap coin. You can probably call that more like 40%, but this could be a 40% from bottom. So let's go take a, not a fractal, but because the weekly chart doesn't do fractals very well. However, let's go look at what about 40% from the wick low is and see what kind of targets we have. Maybe even 45%. Let's just see what it hits on the weekly scale. From wick bottom, let's drag up 40%. Well, 50% is hitting that pink line, but that's a big run. 40% puts us about at that wick. See this wick low right here? So I'm going to put it right at that wick low. And actually, let me go like this. Wick to wick. Oh no. No, I clicked you. Oh, I must have hit right. That's why. Boom. Boom. All right. And that would be 44% to go from this weekly wick up to that weekly wick right there. Okay, that is in line. This could easily happen if RSI comes up just to get rejected. Just to get rejected. So let's see what this would look like on the 1 hour chart. And I will move this guy over a little bit. Something to that effect right there. And that would bring you up to 25,300 if this came up to kiss that wick right there. Okay, I'm not trying to do puns or anything with it, but literally kiss it as in you barely touch it and then go back down. That's the height of the move. A 40% move from wick bottom. That looks like a pretty freaking reasonable target. But I want you to know that it could go a little higher, and I want to show you why. Okay? I want to show you why. That for next week or for the next 2 weeks, this could go a lot higher. And it's just one line. Just one line. Watch this. All right. Back, I'm going to go to the daily chart. I'm going to use my normal EMAs. I'm going to put on my daily 89 EMA. And I'm going to use the 89 because bear market rallies both in crypto and in traditional markets. They rally up to the daily 89, then go back down. This is the daily 89. 2017, 20K top, crashed down to $6,000 in a hurry. That was wild. That was honestly wicked. If you didn't live through that, that was fucking crazy. Wow. Yeah, Bitcoin lost like 60% of its value really fast. It was intense. But anyway, and that's why a lot of people thought it was going to keep going up. Like, that was the bottom. Yeah, right. Anyway, but it zoomed up to the daily 89. Okay, it got a little bit above, but come back down, zoomed up to where? The daily 89. Came down, zoomed up to the daily 89, zoomed up to the daily 89. What does NASDAQ do? Let's go to NASDAQ futures chart, and we got the daily 89. Let's go to previous bear markets, and here's the 2018 I guess mini dump. Okay, you dump down. Where do you come up to? Daily 89. Go down. Where do you go up to? Daily 89. You go down. Where do you come up to? Daily 89. You understand? Are you seeing this? Look, this is actually potentially fairly probable. And sometimes in the first moves of the bear market of NASDAQ, it goes above it, but then it comes below. It goes just a little bit above it as well. The daily 89 is pretty key stuff. So big drop down. Where to go up to? Daily 89. Big drop down. Where to go up to? Above the daily 89. Use it as support. Lower high. Bam. Fell back down. Where to come up to? The daily 89. So it's a big deal. Daily 89 is like a bear market rally target. It could. Therefore, price could scream up to it and hit its head on it, or it could go about 10 to 15% above it, use it as support, make a lower high, then crash through. With the safe assumption that we haven't seen bottom. Could it go a little higher? Maybe, but as of now, the data says it could easily race up and bump its head on the daily 89 or get above it, use it as support once, lower high, fall down. So let's go see what that looks like on Bitcoin. And this would be happening now. Like this, because the weekly RSI went so low. It kind of needs to go up and touch its EMA or get close to touching it. So the daily 89 would be, so that this is one target, right? And I'm going to get rid of this. This is measuring 40% from that fractal. because the RSI is very similar. That's one target, 25,300. However, another piece of strong data suggests that this line here, this purple line, if I drag it out like this, bam, okay? If price takes a little while to get there, that is at the bottom. And instead of hitting the wick, it goes past the wick and hits the bottom of this zone, a horizontal, and it would get to the daily 89 exactly at the same time at about 28 to 29,000 bucks. Could even hit 28 to 29,000. And that's if it just bumps its head on it. And you saw multiple cases where Bitcoin and or the traditional market actually gets above the daily 89. So if it were to get above the daily 89, I mean, it's pretty simple. It would look something like this. It would probably, you'd probably have some horizontal to this effect, something like this, and this would probably stop it. This the height of this move. So it would come snap back into this horizontal range here. So if it were to come up above the daily 89, it'd probably come up here all the way to 31.7. Maybe 31, I would say 31,000 to 31.7 in that range. But it's in the 31Ks, right? This is in the 31Ks if it gets above the daily 89 line extension. If it kisses its if it bumps its head on it, that's more in your 28K range, right? Deep 28s, 28.5, something to that effect. Therefore, those are the upside. Those are the very bullish upside targets for a strong bull market rally. However, as you saw with the weekly RSI, it's not a question of if it comes up to hit its that white line, the moving white line that hugs its ass. It's when. It will hit it. It's a guarantee unless the world ends or the internet's turned off and Bitcoin dies, right? But it is a guarantee if you safely assume those things won't happen. It will hit it. The question is when, right? So follow this logic. It's when. It just separated very far from the EMA. Therefore, the question of when, well, I mean, it might want to about now because that's when it comes back to touch it is after it's stretched. It's like a rubber band. It's the state of relaxation of a rubber band. You pick it up, you squeeze it. It's in a state of tension. And when you let go, it goes whoosh, goes back to its relaxed state. And that green line on the RSI going back to the white line it's the relaxed state. It wants to get to the relaxed state. It's just what happens, right? Therefore, we can deduce the targets from that. Upper targets of about 28,000 to 28,500. Or if it gets above the daily 89, it could be in the deep 31,000 to 31,700 are my targets. Watch my ass spanking over here. And if you want some futures trading tips that you won't hear anywhere else, go ahead and click this video here. You got Timified Worldwide. Trade safely over the weekend.